From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Friday, May 13th. Gonna see more above average temperatures today, mostly sunny skies to end the work week. Humidity values are going to be a little bit higher today, but not high enough to be really uncomfortable. Overall, a really great day ahead for those outdoor plans and the Grand Prix qualifying event. The highs look to top out in the mid-80s. We'll get more to those qualifying rounds here in a little bit. But first, we have some news to get to. Authorities have ruled the death of former Alabama Corrections Officer Vicky White a suicide. The Vanderburgh County Coroner's Office ruled White's cause of death as a gunshot wound to the head yesterday. The coroner says it happened after officers rammed the car she was in with escaped inmate Casey White into a ditch in Evansville. Officers took Casey White into custody after 11 days on the run. Police say he was prepared for a shootout before the crash. He's now being charged with escape in addition to the murder charges he was facing from 2015. A Southern Indiana judge is facing criminal charges and is suspended from the bench. Sabrina Bell serves on the circuit court in Crawford County. She's accused of hitting her ex-husband in the face in front of two of their children last month. Authorities arrested her yesterday. Bell has been in the headlines before after a bizarre incident in downtown Indianapolis in 2019. Investigators say she was with two other judges and made an obscene gesture that led to an argument and gunfire in a White Castle parking lot. The shooting left the other judges wounded. All three judges faced discipline. And this morning, flags at the State House and elsewhere are flying at half-staff as America nears 1 million COVID-19 deaths. Governor Holcomb ordered them to be lowered at state facilities following President Biden's order for federal facilities until Monday at sunset. Some lawmakers in Washington stood on the Capitol steps last night for a moment of silence. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and 15 other House Democrats were there. According to the Johns Hopkins count, at the current pace, America will pass the 1 million mark sometime today. In his comments, President Biden says the country must not grow numb to such sorrow. He called on Congress to quickly pass more funding for treatments and vaccines. ITmate is looking at a campaign by city leaders and fishers to prevent out-of-state investors from buying up homes, reshaping neighborhoods. Mayor Scott Fadness is asking homeowners associations to block sales to groups buying up homes for rentals and instead keeping them in the hands of local families. Fadness cites a study that found investors bought 33% of all homes sold in the city so far this year. It's part of a nationwide trend that is helping to fuel the spike in home prices and rental rates. Fadness wants HOAs to use legal authority to change the pattern.
There's precedent for HOAs restricting the number of rentals in their community and things of that nature. At the city ordinance level or at the state level, you have to take a much broader perspective on how to regulate rentals. They're getting beat out by these folks who are making cash offers, no inspections. That's difficult to compete with.
A new report released yesterday shows mortgage rates doubling from a year ago. The average rate for a 30-year loan is up to 5.3%. It was 2.94% last year. Also from ITmate, a wastewater conflict takes another turn. The board of the Ben Davis Conservancy District rejected a buyout offer from Citizens Energy. The district is planning its own wastewater treatment facility near I-70 in Tibbs, saying it will lead to lower bills. People who live near the site oppose the project over concerns about odors and property values. Citizens offered to buy the property and continue with the current wastewater process, but this week the board said no. And the bird flu hits the 11th Indiana property. The State Board of Animal Health says a small non-commercial flock of birds just tested positive in Allen County near Fort Wayne. The state says it'll begin testing for the virus in 18 commercial sites in that county now. So far, more than 171,000 turkeys and more than 17,000 ducks in the state have been infected with avian flu. And breaking in the war in Ukraine, Ukrainian prosecutors have opened the first war crimes trial since the start of the war. A 21-year-old captured Russian soldier stands accused of shooting a civilian to death in the war's first week. The soldier faces up to life in prison. This comes as Indiana Republican Congresswoman Victoria Spartz introduces war crimes legislation. The Investigate Russian War Crimes Act would allow the U.S. to provide support or federal funding to the International Criminal Court. Current law forbids that. Spartz says in a statement to News 8 that Russia's war crimes are inhumane and cannot be ignored. The UN Human Rights Council also voted yesterday to deepen its investigation. The crimes came to light after Russian forces aborted their bid to capture Kyiv. And one Republican senator single-handedly delayed the approval of a bipartisan $40 billion aid package to Ukraine. Senator Rand Paul defied leaders of both parties yesterday by denying the unanimous agreement the Senate needed to proceed. Paul wants to add an amendment that requires overseeing how the money is spent.
My oath of office is to the U.S. Constitution, not to any foreign nation. And no matter how sympathetic the cause, my oath of office is to the national security of the United States of America. We cannot save Ukraine by dooming the U.S. economy.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says it's clear from Paul's remarks that, quote, he doesn't want to aid Ukraine. Both parties acknowledge there are still enough votes to pass the measure in the Senate next week. 5 members of Congress are now ordered to appear in front of their peers to answer questions about the Capitol riots. The House Select Committee sent subpoenas to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and fellow Republicans Scott Perry, Andy Biggs, Mo Brooks, and Jim Jordan. They had all previously refused to cooperate voluntarily. The committee chair says the lawmakers have relevant information on the attack and the events leading up to it. Depositions are scheduled for the end of May. McCarthy has said the committee is not legitimate and is not yet saying if he'll comply with the subpoena. A new report says Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito made his first public comments since the leak that shocked the court. Alito wrote the draft opinion suggesting the court will overturn Roe v. Wade. The Washington Post says Alito did a virtual question and answer session with students at George Mason University. The Post says Alito declined to answer a question about the mood of the court, saying instead the court was doing its work. The justices met yesterday for the first time since the leak. Court officials indicated that at least one decision will be announced Monday. The abortion case is one of 37 unresolved cases that the court heard in the fall, winter, and spring. The court typically issues its decisions by end of summer. Borrowing for college is about to get more expensive. The Treasury Department says interest rates on federal student loans will rise by more than a percentage point by summer. It's the biggest jump in the cost of financing education in 9 years. The higher rates only apply to loans taken out to pay the 2022-23 academic year. It does not apply to existing student debt. Grad students are expected to take the brunt end of the cost because of the higher amounts of debt they typically take on. The Biden administration says it's trying to end the baby formula shortage. The White House says the president met with executives from Gerber and Reckitt about how they can increase formula production, and Walmart and Target execs about a restocking plan. The shortage is caused in part by a major recall over contamination concerns.
But again, I'd go back to why this decision was made in the first place, which was to save babies' lives. And the FDA is not going to approve manufacturing again unless they are certain of the safety.
The White House says the shortage is hitting low-income families particularly hard. About half of all baby formula is sold to families using federal assistance. The Department of Justice and the FBI want access to classified documents former President Donald Trump took to Mar-a-Lago. Federal investigators issued a subpoena to the National Archives yesterday. The Justice Department blocked Congress from getting the White House documents last month. Yesterday's move now signals an ongoing investigation into the handling of those documents. The Presidential Records Act requires all records be turned over at the end of administrations. The archives requested a review of whether Trump violated that law back in February. A spokesperson for Trump said he consistently handled all documents in accordance with applicable law and regulations. Elon Musk says his $44 billion deal to buy Twitter is on hold. He delivered the news in a tweet that indicates he wants proof of the company's claim that only 5% of its users are spam or fake accounts. He also included a link to a news story about such accounts. Twitter and Musk announced late last month that they'd reached a deal, but there's no firm timeline for it to close. Mercedes-Benz is recalling thousands of SUVs because the brakes could fail. Mercedes says the recall affects 292,000 MLGL and R-Class SUVs from 2006 to 2012. It says brake boosters can corrode over time and cause drivers to need more force to stop the SUV and more distance. Mercedes says if you have an impacted SUV, you should bring it to your dealer for an inspection. If there's no corrosion, nothing needs to be done. The Roars return at Indianapolis Motor Speedway today with fast laps ahead of tomorrow's Grand Prix. Doug Bowles joined our Lake and McGee on Daybreak this morning to talk about what you can expect.
Joining me is Doug Bowles. So how do you prepare for something like this?
Well, we wait. As soon as the checker flag falls last May, you start thinking about this May. So it's a lot of preparation, the team really trying to make sure everything's really ready to go. But this is the first time since 2019 that we've been allowed to have people in the facility with no restrictions. It's been a little bit more of a challenge for us, just trying to get that muscle memory back. But for me, I can't wait. I drove in this morning just seeing smiling faces and everybody here, and the place is like a city and it's alive. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you know what? I saw you pull up. You looked excited. I saw you shaking hands. You are ready. And you know what? I think we're all ready because we get to shake hands. We don't have to have those masks on. We are super excited. And you know who else I'm sure is excited is those racers. Have you gotten to talk to any of them?
Yeah, absolutely. The drivers can't wait to get back here and be able to run and do it in front of fans. That's really important to them. But there's something about coming to Indianapolis for those drivers that's really special. And kicking it off with the GMR Grand Prix this weekend and then getting ready to convert the track on Sunday and Monday so we can go racing in terms of the Indy 500 on Tuesday. I mean, that's really why they're here.
Yes, exactly. And you know, we were talking right before we went on camera here. How many people we are expecting for this? Just let us know.
Yeah, I think probably you're going to be in the 40 to 50,000 range on Saturday here, and then it's going to be well over 300,000 for the Indy 500 this year. Ticket sales are better than they've ever been in the last 25 years, except for the 100th running, which is when we sold it out, and those tickets are still going real quick. So I think it's going to be a fantastic race.
And where can people get tickets?
Just IMS.com is really the best place, really, to find all your Indianapolis Motor Speedway information, including getting tickets. The good news about our racing here, especially this weekend and leading into the 500, 15 and under are free. So I encourage people to just buy a GA ticket. You don't need to reserve a ticket. Get a GA ticket, bring your 15 and under family, as many as you can get in your car, and bring them out for free.
Gates opened at 7:30 this morning. The first IndyCar practice starts at 9:30, second 12:45. Then it's qualifications for Indy Lights and the Indy Pro 2000 race. Grand Prix qualifying starts at 4. Tickets are $20. Children 15 years and younger get in free with an adult. And single game Colts tickets go on sale this morning at 11 o'clock. 2 of those games will be in the NFL prime time. As revealed by the league last night, the Colts open the 2022 season on the road in Houston. The team won't play at Lucas Oil Stadium until Week 3 against the Kansas City Chiefs. The first of 4 primetime games comes in Week 5 against the Broncos in Denver for Thursday night football. Week 8 sees the return of Carson Wentz to Indianapolis with the Washington Commanders. In the second half of the season, the team hosts the Steelers Week 12 on the Monday night after Thanksgiving. Then the following week, the team travels to Dallas to take on the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. And in Week 16, the Colts host the Chargers on Monday after Christmas. There will be no Triple Crown winner this year. The long shot winner of the Kentucky Derby will not run the Preakness Stakes. Rich Strike won a stunner at Churchill Downs on Saturday, going off a 80-1 odds. The horse's principal owner says he's sticking with his original plan of rest and recovery for Rich Strike before the Belmont Stakes in June. The Preakness runs May 21st in Baltimore. Classic cars take over the Indiana State Fairgrounds this weekend. It's a Mecum auction. Mecum auction deals with about 2,000 consignments from several collections. It showcases everything from American muscle cars, classics, Corvettes, hot rods, and more, all at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. It's a 5-day auction. It usually attracts a lot of people from all across the nation, tens of thousands of spectators a year. The auction is open to buyers, sellers, and spectators. Bidder registration is available online in advance for $100 and $200 after auction starts. General admission tickets are available in advance online for $20 a person per day and for $30 at the door and online once the auction begins. The Broad Ripple Art Fair is back tomorrow for the first time in 2 years. Organizers expect nearly 15,000 people to visit for the fair's 50th anniversary celebration. It's from 10 to 5 both tomorrow and Sunday at the Indianapolis Art Center. Tickets are $10 for children and $25 for adults. Organizers say there is a diverse music lineup this year with 4 bands performing on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. Finally, Holiday World and Splash and Safari open this weekend. Daily tickets start at $35. Park hours are 11 to 6, weekends only. Weekday hours start after Memorial Day. This has been your News 8 Daily 8. For Wish TV, I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com. And follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.